So as ketamine therapy becomes more mainstream, what challenges do you see in terms of acceptance from the medical community and general public? How can we overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely hit some resistance when we were, marketing this to our colleagues. A lot of them laughed at us in 2020. Like, what are you doing? This isn't what we learned in med school, right? But I think a lot more people are coming around to it because they're seeing the results. And they're seeing news article after news article. Everyone's talking about it, right? Elon Musk is talking about it. Aaron Rodgers,
Sure.
a lot of big names are talking about the benefits of psychedelics. Everyone's interested in trying it. I think the general public's also very interested, but the biggest factor for them is cost, right? And unfortunately, we've tried working with insurance companies in the past, and we always get burned every single time. As a provider and a patient, I can't stand working with insurance companies in America. I think everybody agrees with that, right?
Agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, their incentives are not aligned with ours, right? The way they make more money is by collecting that premium, investing it instead of spending it on the patient, right? In fact, they made a ton of money in COVID, so much that they actually broke their 80-20 rule, where they're supposed to spend 80% of the premiums on patients. So I don't know if you remember, but I got a check back from Blue Cross Blue Shield because they're like, hey, we didn't use your premium on any care, so I guess we'll give you some money back, right?
Wow.
But it really comes down to, are they going to pay for this, right? They keep hiding behind the fact that ketamine, how we're using it, isn't FDA approved. I mean, but that's nonsense, right? There's so many medications that are not used according to their FDA approval, right?
Sure.
For example, Exparel is a local anesthetic, a numbing medicine that was only approved for use in hemorrhoid surgeries, right? But it's used off-label on so many different parts of the body, and yet, insurance companies will still pay for that care, right? There's definitely a lot of politics involved. I imagine Big Pharma has something to do with it too, right?
Sure.
Because SSRIs are a big moneymaker for them,
Right.
and psychedelics are a huge threat to that, right?
100%.
For sure.
So really, I think the public is all ready for this. They just want it covered by insurance. They want it to be, we want to be able to give access to them, but, we're going to lose our shirt if we just keep working with insurance companies at this particular moment in time.
Sure. I got to believe your old colleagues are paying a little bit more attention to where you went and what you're doing. And I got to believe you're having more fun.
I think people are supportive. Like, at least I talked to you. It's like, look, like, you're being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
You're following your dreams.
Yep.
Like, you're taking a risk. I would like to approach life that, like, what would your 70-year-old version of you tell you to do? And it would probably like, take those chances, right? Like, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to fail. Like, usually you're going to regret the things you didn't do in life versus the thing you did try and do. And that's part of the reason why we started our clinic, is to take a chance. And then I think when you're doing right in this world, doors seem to open for you. Absolutely. Like, our first year, we almost went out of business. We were in Peoria. It was the wrong location. And I don't know, we've talked about this before. We're like delusional or something, went and signed a 5-year lease in Scottsdale without a profitable business. And then somehow now it's, able to support our families, and we're able to help hundreds of patients. And
You just opened a second location.
we just opened a second
Yeah.
location. Yeah. So it's like, it's happening. Like, follow your dreams, like, follow your heart, like, do right in this world, and things will line up for you. I do believe in that,
And location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
How's the new location?
Oh, it's wonderful.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's an evolution of the first space, like
In Gilbert.
in Gilbert. Yeah,
That's really stunning.
Yeah, we bought the building, and we have 6 infusion rooms versus 5 in Scottsdale. It's 3,000 square feet. All of our rooms are themed, so it goes wave room, and then the cube room, and the maze room, and the flower room, and the space room, and then the dream room. So you have 6 infusions, and if we can get you into each one of those, it's like chapters in your story. So you can go back and remember, oh, I was in the cube room or the dream room when I had this breakthrough in this thought. It's awesome. And it's, it's still like reaching maturity, but how do you turn a house into a home? Artwork and putting your personal, plants and things and touches everywhere. And so we're turning that clinic into, a healing center. But it's beautiful. And you guys, Jen has seen it.
It really is.
She was there for the grand opening. And just trust the process. Like Deepak brought that quote into our clinic, and now it's on our bracelet here. We tell patients, trust the process. We will evolve your perspective.
That's great.
Yeah, and since I spent 8 years in Philly, I took it from the Sixers. That was their motto for their playoff runs. That never amounted to anything, but still trust the process. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a theme that permeates so many different, theories and thoughts and, ideas and, trust the universe, trust the process, faith and trust. It seems to be a consistent theme. Are there any misconceptions or myths about ketamine assisted therapy that you might want to set straight? What do you want people to know about the therapy and to better understand the benefits?
Yeah, I would say usually people, look at ketamine like, oh, special K. They think of it as a recreational drug, horse tranquilizer, all these K-holes, all these things we've heard from people. But really, even look at like MDMA, right? Party drug, Molly, ecstasy. But that's going to likely be FDA approved. They're going to apply in June 2024 for, PTSD treatment with veterans. So it's all about the intention and then the setting in which we're doing this substance. So ketamine is a catalyst for a transformation. And sure, people can abuse it recreationally. It is a known drug of abuse. Of course, I'm not even going to deny that. Anything that makes a human being feel good has probably been abused by a human being somewhere, whether it's food or alcohol or whatever, right? So I like to kind of want to change that misconception that, also say like they don't call it ordinary K, right? It's called special K because it is special and it's very rapid acting. So when you use a substance like this and we're not prescribing it, right? It's only in the clinic. It's administered with a doctor's guidance, that we have the proper intention and preparation behind it. This is how we heal. Everything in life is a tool or a weapon, right? Our phone, social media, love, friendships, everything, right? So how are we approaching this thing? We approach it as a tool. But other people have used it as a weapon, right? And then caused havoc in their lives. Ketamine, when we're doing it like this, 6 infusions and then some maintenance infusions, there are no long-term deleterious health effects to it. There is a thing known as ketamine bladder and interstitial cystitis. That's what people are abusing ketamine and doing grams a day for months and years and then not stopping, right? So these are rare things, but it's a very, very safe medicine. It's probably been given over 1 billion plus times on planet Earth amongst humans. It's been used in so many different anesthetics and pediatrics, the old and frail and the Vietnam War a ton. So I just want to like kind of flip the script as well. I don't call it a K-hole. I call it K-hole W-H-O-L-E. So if you're ready for that dissociative experience, it can make you more whole, especially if you integrate it later. I do have a poem called the K-hole integration poem.
I love that.
You can find it on Instagram. I'm gonna do it right now.
I'm amazed at honestly how many people think of ketamine as just a horse tranquilizer.
Well, yeah, I mean that's whenever I talk about like what we're doing, they're like, "Oh yeah, isn't that like a horse tranquilizer?" I mean, it's like the first thing people say, and so I love that you're dispelling this now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
it's
pretty
so much
funny
more
though.
than that.
On our Facebook page, we had like some sort of Facebook ad about ketamine. This was like early on. And we had a pretty funny troll. This guy posted a video. It's called Ket is for Horses, and I definitely suggest you look it up. It's like some EDM video, 2 DJs. They're wearing these horse masks on their face, and they're like, they're snorting some white powder with the mask. And, at the drop, it says, Ket is for horses, you dumb motherfuckers. So obviously we had to delete that. But,
Sure.
Well played, Facebook troll. That really gave us a good laugh. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really also funny that a medicine that's given to horses, sure, it's given to animals as well. But why is there a stigma behind that? If you can't take if you can't take a horse tranquilizer, well then you can't really take any of the antibiotics either that we give to humans and animals, right?
Yeah.
They demonized ivermectin, right, as a horse dewormer,
Right.
when it certainly has plenty of practical applications, right? It's used to get rid of parasites from your body. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about COVID and whether it helps with that. I mean, so far the evidence is pretty slim on that. But, you know, to demonize it as a horse medicine, I thought was extremely inappropriate. So you shouldn't be doing that about ketamine either. It is used on animals, but it's used in pediatric emergencies. It's used in obstetric emergencies. So if pregnant women and children can get it safely, anybody can get it, right? There's not many medications that are approved for pregnant women. And, you know, we don't use it all the time, and you really want to use it sparingly, but sometimes it gets people out of a really difficult situation. Yeah.
The other thing to touch on too, that like, yeah, horse tranquilizer, but let's think about the practicality here. How do you actually put a horse to sleep, right? Well, ketamine is the only anesthetic doesn't decrease your drive to breathe. It's the only one. So I can, you know, start an IV line or give a huge intramuscular shot to a horse. They bring it into a padded room, and then it gets catatonic, but it doesn't fall over. Because if that horse falls over, it's going to break its ribs, right?
Right.
And then they push it against a padded wall, and then it slopes down, and then they put it off to sleep and, you know, can put an airway in. So propofol is used in veterinary medicine as well, but no one talks about that as in a veterinary medicine. Usually people say Michael Jackson juice.
Gosh.
You know, he just had the wrong doctor. We would have kept him alive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
We put the
goodness.
pro in propofol.
Oh, gosh.
You know?
There's even a menopause medicine, Premarin. It actually comes from horse urine.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of medications that come from animals too, but
Sure.
you know, we don't demonize that. Another thing I wanted to touch on though was, you know, everybody, you know, always ask us, you know, is ketamine addictive, because they see, you know, these people getting addicted on the street, right? But you know, there's never really been a case of someone taking ketamine in a controlled medical setting developing addiction, because, you know, we as medical providers end up being the gatekeepers of the medicine, right?
Right.
We'll counsel them when we feel like, hey, you're tapping the well a little bit too much. Are you focusing anything on the daily practice? Are you meditating? Are you journaling? So, you know, there really is very little risk of addiction potential. Ketamine doesn't cause any physical dependence, meaning if you've been taking it for a long time and you just abruptly stop it, you're not going to have any withdrawal symptoms like you would with alcohol, right? You know, if alcoholics, if you've been drinking, you know, a liter a day for years, you can't just quit cold turkey, because you could potentially get seizures and die, right?
Right.
And benzodiazepines also, same thing. It's, you know, like Dr. James says, it's alcohol in a pill form.
That's for people that don't know what benzos are, like Xanax and
Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin.
Yeah.
You know, these are things that weren't intended to be taken for more than 2 to 4 weeks, but people have been on them for 10 years.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, and that's not something you can quit cold turkey, because again, you can get severe withdrawal symptoms, right? But interestingly, ketamine is Schedule 3 on the DEA schedule, but you know, Xanax, Ativan, all those benzos are Schedule 4, meaning the DEA thinks that there's even less risk of dependence. It's, you know, it's pretty backwards. You know, marijuana is Schedule 1,
Interesting.
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
LSD,
interesting.
psilocybin,
That's all by design.
right?
Yeah.
I will say that Schedule 1 means no accepted medical use with a high abuse potential.
Yeah.
Right.
That's actually tobacco and alcohol. They actually fit the perfect definition of Schedule 1.
100%.
Yeah, cannabis is Schedule 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know it has medicinal value. Wow, it's just backwards. Something's got to change. Maybe this podcast creates a little ripple effect, and we get a
I believe it
change
will.
here.
I believe it will.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.